We've got matinee games. So because there's matinee games, it's easier for me to put up the video the night before. It's Martin Luther King Day in the U.S., which means sales and a day off. I've always thought that was weird, you have a Memorial Day, which you would think is to kind of be a memorial type thing, and yet there never are. Everything turns commercial, and how many mattresses can I get on sale today? Your holiday is directly tied to how much stuff I can get and for how cheap. So anyways, I'll jump off my soapbox and we'll get things started. Minnesota, 24-21-3. This is a big game for them. They're in against Vegas. Vegas is, of course, 29-17-4. And it's a mildly big game for Vegas, too. There's not a whole lot of pressure on Vegas. They're not able to move up with a win and a loss to the team ahead of them. But they also don't really have to worry about teams under them right now either. Fourth place in the division is Vancouver. They don't have to worry about Vancouver. They've got a long ways to go before they'd have to worry about Vancouver. So, really, honestly, I could see this being a game Minnesota might have some more intensity with. There's a little more on the line for Minnesota. They're 1 point out of the playoffs. They've got 2 games in hand on Vancouver, but this is one of those 2 games. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They won their last game. They're 11-12 on the road. They're 16-12-12 versus the West. Whereas Vegas, they're 8-2 in their last 10. They won their last game. At home, they're 16-4-3 now. I don't think Vegas has lost at home since I was there. And you guys in Vegas, you guys said, "Oh, we lost with Shannon here." Yeah, now I left, and you guys haven't lost a game. You're welcome. I don't think they've lost. No, they've lost one. They lost the one game at home. That's it. Versus the West, they're 17-8-2. So very impressive record for Vegas overall. But again, I'm looking at Minnesota and thinking this might be a chance for them to to make up some ground and solidify themselves in the top 8 spot heading into the All-Star break. Now, Parise leads them in scoring with 20 goals, 22 assists. Granlund, 12 goals, 27 assists. Stahl, 14 goals, 17 assists. Suter, 5 goals, 25 assists. Spurgeon, 7 goals, 20 assists. Koivu, 6 goals, 21 assists. Zucker, 13 goals, 11 assists. Coyle, 7 goals, 16 assists. Dumba, 12 goals, 10 assists. And Aberg with 11 goals, 9 assists rounds out your top 10 for Minnesota. On the Vegas side of things, Tuck, 15 goals, 23 assists. Marchessault, 17 goals, 17 assists. Carlson, 16 goals, 16 assists. Smith, 9 goals, 18 assists. Eakin, 13 goals, 13 assists. Pacioretty, same total. Theodore, 6 goals, 16 assists. Miller, 2 goals, 17 assists. Schmidt, 4 goals, 13 assists. And check it out, Stastny's on the board at 6 goals, 10 assists. He's been playing pretty well lately. Goaltenders, nothing confirmed the night before. I'd say Dubnyk, he's 18-16-3, 2.6 goals against, 912 save percentage, and a single shutout. Stalock, 6-5, 2.92 goals against, 894 save percentage, and nada. I expect Fleury, until Subban comes off the injured reserve list, and Legas stays the backup, I expect Fleury to play pretty much every minute. 27, 12, and 4, 2.49 goals against, 911 save percentage, and 6 shutouts. They're not saying much about Subban or what's going on, and they don't really have to. You've got the break coming up. Subban's 2-5, 2.95 goals against, 903 save percentage, and 0 shutouts. And again, no stats for Legacy, and I don't expect him to play. I'd be very surprised if he gets time. I admire what Legacy did last year, but I don't see him as really an NHL level goaltender. And I think Vegas is just going to ride out Fleury as far as he can go. And again, with Fleury playing every game, he's in the All-Star game. I do kind of expect him to get attention with Vezina. I don't know how much, because his overall numbers are not fantastic. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on. I'm not trying to insult the guy either. I just think that if you're talking about the overall best goaltender in the league this year, I wouldn't have Fleury as the number 1 or the number 2 guy. Next up, San Jose does not have a goaltender with a 900 save percentage. 28-15-7. They're in against Florida. 19-20-8 is Florida's record. Over their last 10, San Jose 7-3-2 on the road. They're 11-11-3. Versus the East, they're 10-7-4, so they struggle against the East, more so than against the West. Florida, on the other hand, 3-5-2 in their last 10, but they've won 2 in a row. And at home, they're 9-6-5, and versus the West, 4-8-2. So not very good against the West. to say the least. This is definitely a trap-ish game. The only reason I'm not putting an Akbar magnet up here is San Jose's lost 2 in a row. So I'm not going to look at this and go, oh, well, this is a trap game, because San Jose should come out strong with the fact that they've lost 2 in a row. They want to keep distance between themselves and Vegas. This is really a no-brainer that they should be able to come out and come out really well against a team that plays. They've won 9 out of 20 at home. So Florida, it's not a very difficult place to play. And San Jose, they've won 11 out of 23 on the road. So anyways, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Or no, 11 out of 25 on the road. Sorry about that. Scoring leaders for San Jose: Burns, 9 goals, 43 assists. Couture, 17 goals, 26 assists. Erik Karlsson, quietly, 3 goals and 40 assists for him. Meyer, 18 goals, 24 assists. Hertl, 19 goals, 22 assists. Pavelski, 26 goals, 14 assists. Kane, 19 goals, 21 assists. LeBanc, 5 goals, 25 assists. Donskoy, 14 goals, 12 assists. And Thornton rounds out your top 10 with 10 goals and 13 assists. You know, it's interesting, when I was doing the review tonight, I mentioned Elias Pettersson, of course, it's a great pass, because everything Pettersson touches is fantastic. And, of course, people are like, that wasn't a great pass. Reminder to myself, do not embellish on the reviews. Doesn't work. I just try to, pump them up a little bit, because why not? Especially when it's a guy getting some points that you're excited about. Now, on the Florida side of things in this game, Huberdeau leads them with 12 goals, 36 assists. Barkov, 17 goals, 27 assists. Hoffman, 23 goals, 19 assists. Dadonov, 18 goals, 20 assists. Yandel, 6 goals, 31 assists. Vetrano, 15 goals, 7 assists. Ekblad, 9 goals, 11 assists. McCann, 8 goals, 10 assists. Trocheck, 4 goals, 13 assists. He's moving up. Matheson, 3 goals, 13 assists for 16 points to round out the top 10 for Florida. Goaltenders. I guess Jones. Dell is 6-6-3, 3.09 goals against, 891 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. I knew this was coming. I called it before the Tampa game. Jones now has a 22-9-4 record, 2.82 goals against, 899 save percentage, and a shutout. He's back below 900. He stayed above 900 for 3 games. Now he's back below. On the Florida side, I'd go with Reimer, to be honest. Luongo's 9-11-1, 3.23 goals against, 894 save percentage, and a shutout. Reimer was great in his last game. So 9-8-5, 3.15 goals against, 896 save percentage. And yeah, I'd go with him. And I'm really kind of surprised that I would, but I absolutely would. Next up, Nashville. Boy, you want to talk about teams that need to be fired up tomorrow night. It has to be Nashville. But they're in against Colorado, who also need to be fired up because, let's be honest, Colorado over the last month and a half has looked like a team that wants to fall out of the playoff race. And Vancouver now 2 games above 500. Hey, who knows? Maybe they can knock somebody out of a wild card spot. Maybe this... No, Shannon, stick to it. 28-18-4 is the record of the Nashville Predators. 22-18-8 is the record of the Colorado Avalanche. So those 8 overtime losses loom large, to be honest, with their standing. Losing in overtime and shootouts, those points come in really handy later on in the year. 5-3-2 is the record of Nashville over the last 10. Of course, they lost their last 2. On the road, they're now 12-9-4. Versus the West, they're 13-13-1. Don't do very well against the West when you compare them against the East. Whereas Colorado 3-5-2 over their last 10. They won their last game. At home, they're 10-6-5. Versus the West, they're 9-11-6. So not a great overall record for Colorado. And this is the second game of the 2-game suspension for Johansson. Still leads the team in scoring with 8 goals, 34 assists. Ekholm, 6 goals, 30 assists. Yossi, 7 goals, 28 assists. Forsberg, 18 goals and 10 assists. Fiala, 8 goals, 20 assists. Arvidsson, 18 goals, 7 assists. Smith, 14 goals, 11 assists. Bonino, 12 goals, 12 assists. Sissons, 10 goals, 12 assists. And Ellis rounds out your top 10. 4 goals, 18 assists for the Nashville Predators. On the Colorado side, Rantanen, 23 goals, 50 assists. McKinnon, 27 goals, 43 assists. Landeskog, 29 goals, 25 assists. Barry, 5 goals, 33 assists. Soderberg, 16 goals, 14 assists. Kerfoot, 8 goals, 17 assists. Comfer, 10 goals, 10 assists. Calvert, 7 goals, 10 assists. Wilson, 9 goals, 6 assists. And Nieto rounds out your top 10 with 4 goals and 11 assists. If it comes down to scoring, Colorado should be the better team. If it comes down to defense, Nashville should come out ahead. If it goes down to goaltending, I really don't know right now. Because, again, Rene's numbers keep dropping, but I expect him tomorrow. He's 17, 12, and 3, 2.51 goals against, 913 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. Remember, he had a save percentage of 935 and above and a goals against below 2 not that long ago. Saros is 11, 6, and 1, 2.67 goals against, 908 save percentage, 2 shutouts. On the Colorado side, I would expect Varlamov. Grubauer's 9, 5, and 3, 3.29 goals against, 895 save percentage. Varlamov 13, 11, and 5, 2.81 goals against, 908 save percentage, and a shutout. This is your game that could end up being 5-4, 6-5. Numerous lead changes, momentum shifts, that kind of thing. With the way these teams are playing, it wouldn't surprise me. But I do think that with Colorado being at home, that should be a mild advantage. I say mild because they haven't been as good at home as they were last year. And then the fact that Johansson's out should leave a hole large enough in that lineup for Nashville that Colorado should be able to pull this one out. But, Colorado has been really tough to figure over the last month and a half. And we'll see if tomorrow night is another, step forward for them or if it's a step back because they seem to be kind of doing both. And what's weird, and I got to mention this too, is looking at this week's schedule and seeing the teams that don't have the break and the teams that do, and then the teams that have the break right up until the Friday after the teams come back from the All-Star break. This is weird, but I like it. I got to admit, I like it. It means I can do the previews are a lot shorter. I can do the reviews a lot shorter. And it's going to be a fun week. So anyways, fun week aside, all that said, let's move on to the final game of the night, which is St. Louis 21, 21, and 5. And I'm sure they watched what Vancouver did tonight. Took notes. They're in against the Kings. Now, there are no trap games when you're the St. Louis Blues. You are aware of where you're at. So despite the fact the Kings are 19, 26, and 4, I fully expect the Blues to come out and play really, really well. And when you look at the records, I give a slight edge to St. Louis in this one, while admitting the Kings, they've been not as predictable as you might think. They go in and they beat Dallas. Dallas, a good team at home. They go in against Colorado, a team that's not been very good at home, and they get destroyed. Now, coming off that destruction, should they have a bounce-back game? Yeah, probably. We'll see. Over their last 10, St. Louis is 6-3-1. They won their last game. On the road, they're 9-8-3 versus the West. They're 12-14-4. So they got to get that West record up. But LA, they're 4-5-1 over their last 10. They lost their last game. At home, they're 11-13-1. So that's not good enough. Versus the West, they're 13-15-2. And I get the feeling with LA that they may be able to dig their way up to a 500 record by the end of the year, which wouldn't get you into the playoffs. But I get the feeling that they're playing for pride at this point, so they're going to be a dangerous opponent. Unless it's that game in Colorado yesterday. That was kind of ugly. Scoring leaders for St. Louis: O'Reilly, 17 goals, 31 assists. Perron, 17 goals, 18 assists. Tarasenko, 16 goals, 14 assists. Schenn, 9 goals, 17 assists. Dunn, 5 goals, 15 assists. Schwartz, 3 goals, 17 assists. Bozak, 6 goals, 12 assists. Pietrangelo, 5 goals, 12 assists. Steen, 6 goals, 9 assists. Sundqvist, 8 goals, 6 assists. Rounds out your top 10 for St. Louis. On the LA side, Kopitar, 13 goals, 19 assists. Brown, 12 goals, 16 assists. Doughty, 4 goals, 23 assists. Carter, 10 goals, 14 assists. Iafallo, 10 goals, 12 assists. Kovalchuk, 9 goals, 13 assists. Muzzin, 4 goals, 16 assists. Toffoli, 7 goals, 11 assists. Kempe, 5 goals, 8 assists. Brandon Leipsic rounds out your top 10 for LA with 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points. Goaltenders, I'd go with Binnington. Just saying. He's 4-0-1 now with a 1.62 goals against, 936 save percentage, and a shutout. Jake Allen, 15-15-4, 3.04 goals against, 897 save percentage, and a shutout. On the LA side, I expect Campbell. After the last game, can we really say for sure who we expect in this one? Because I have a hard time. Quick's 8-12-3 now with a 2.96 goals against, 903 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Campbell 6-9, 2.19 goals against, 930 save percentage, and a shutout. This is a very hard to predict game. I will say this. This is one of those games that if St. Louis really genuinely wants to be in the conversation for a playoff spot and prove that those couple of losses they took last week were just a hiccup along the way, this is the game. You're in against the Kings. I'm wearing Kings gear. I like wearing my Rogie Vachon jersey because it's nice. Ben H, fantastic jersey. One of my favorites, and I very rarely have a chance to wear it, so I took advantage today because my Kings are playing Vachon. But this is a team that St. Louis needs to beat if they're going to prove that, yes, they're back in the chase. They are legitimately on their way to a potential playoff spot. If St. Louis can put themselves into a top 8 spot, it'll go a long way to fixing that rift, I think, between Blues fans and the organization. The start to the season seemed to be a real damper on the spirits of the St. Louis faithful. If they can get back into the playoffs by hook and by crook, that would go a long way. And St. Louis, I think, would be a very difficult team to figure out in a round 1 situation because they do have a lot of depth. Binnington, if he ended up being the starter in a series in the playoffs, rookies have stolen series before. I'm not saying St. Louis goes further than series number 2, but if they could score an upset in first round, that's at least something to build on for St. Louis. Anyways, enough crazy ideas on my part. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and that's right, 4 games. And the most games we're going to see this week, there's, I think, 6 games on Thursday. That's it. Going to be a nice, quiet week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. I'll talk to you again soon.